Hi, I'm Carla. I recently completed the Otter Trail. I'm not much of a hiker and I've never done a multi-day hike. I didn't do too much training for the hike, but I do believe that my yoga practice helped me in terms of the strength, stability, flexibility, stamina, mobility, because some of those steps are huge. So you do need to be mobile, you do need to be reasonably fit, but it is a very doable hike and it was most beautiful, very enjoyable. And I think the reason I enjoyed it is because of my yoga practice. We did 3 hikes and I walked up and down the Westcliff steps twice. So there wasn't too much other training done. So I'm very grateful to my yoga practice. I wasn't able to obviously take equipment because you're carrying already, I had a 9 kg backpack. So you can't carry too much. But for the cold, I had this nice light scarf, which also served me well when I was doing my stretches in the tent. So in the mornings, I would wake up and I would come to just Pavamuktasana. So first of all, Dvipada Pavamuktasana, keeping the abdomen quiet, and then extending one leg at a time, just mobilizing into this hip. So there were a lot of stairs to climb on the trail and some of them really tall. So you needed that hip mobility. So just to stretch out the glutes, and then coming to Ekapada Pavamuktasana on the other side. So bending the other leg to my chest. Again, stretching the extended leg, abdomen quiet, shoulders quiet. And then I'd come back to Dvipada Pavamuktasana, stretching the lower back. So you are carrying a pack. A lot of the times you're climbing, so you're leaning forward. The hip flexors need a bit of a release. So here, the extended leg, you're stretching the front of that leg, you're stretching the quads and those hip flexors. And then swapping legs, Ekapada Pavamuktasana to the other side. So you're squeezing the shin to the chest, shoulders, throat, abdomen is soft, and extending that bottom leg. So from here, it's also nice to do a twist. So keeping one leg extended, bending the other leg, and just rolling that bent knee across the body. Here you're getting a nice stretch of the side of the body, a nice twist, which is great for the spine. So when you do hike, you carry that pack for hours. So it's nice just to release the spine. Throughout my day, I would often do lots of twists to release. So again, from Ekapada Pavamuktasana, bending the knee and twisting to the other side. So here you're getting that lovely lateral stretch. You're releasing the glute. I do struggle a little bit with hip sciatic, so this is a nice hip sciatic stretch. And then coming back to center. So Supta Padangustasana is lying down and stretching the legs. If you do not have the flexibility to hold on to your foot with 2 extended legs and the shoulders reasonably relaxed, that's where the scarf came in so handy. But I guess you could use anything, a face cloth, a face towel, whatever you had, and just to extend the leg into Supta Padangustasana 1. So here I was just stretching the back of the leg so that you're releasing the hamstrings, releasing the calf muscles. Keep the quadriceps strong by pushing the thigh away. So strong quadriceps is a real bonus when you're doing a hike like the Otter Trail, which has a lot of elevations. From here, keeping the opposite leg down, open that extended leg out to the side. So you're stretching the pelvis, opening and broadening the pelvis. Throughout the trail, you're basically walking. So your leg is only moving in that forward and backward range of motion here, just to get that nice openness in the groin. And when you've done out to the side, Pajva, coming back, if you do struggle from sciatic some days, I would just bring that foot, cross it over slightly to get that stretch in the glute and the back of the thigh. Right, I would do both legs. So take up the other leg into your strap. First up, Supta Padangustasana 1, just extend both legs. So this is what I would stretch in the morning. I wouldn't have too much time. So you just want to get a little bit of extension in the legs, start warming up those muscles, releasing any tightness, because the camps were all at sea level. So your first little bit of your walk is an uphill. So it's quite challenging to get the body going right off the bat. Now taking the strap in both hands, taking that leg out to the side, keeping the opposite leg grounded, pelvis is nice and open, and just feel both legs extending, opening the chest. So I found that I was able to regulate my breath quite easily based on, I think, the fact that we do such a lot of pranayama practice in the Iyengar crowd. So bending that knee, just extend the legs. Now, bending the knees, roll onto the side, coming into Adho Mukha Virasana. So toes together, knees apart, releasing into Adho Mukha. You want to keep the buttocks grounded and the head comfortably on the floor, getting that stretch in the lumbar spine. So if you're unable to keep the buttocks grounded, then you could always roll up your sleeping bag, put it behind you, and use your pillow for your head. Once you've got this lovely stretch of the spine, this openness in the armpit region, this release in the shoulders, keeping the arms straight, come onto the knees, turn the toes under, and come to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana, firm up the thighs, open the backs of the knees. Here the spine is extended, the sides of the body are extended. I love downward facing dog, so just enjoy a little bit of time here. Again, working with the breath. Seeing if the pose evolves, if you're able to stretch a little bit more. For the backs of the knees are a little bit open because you're firming up the thighs. Slowly beginning to see if you can move from that front ankle to the back ankle to slowly begin taking the heels down. Palms pressing into the floor. And then looking to the front of the mat, walk the feet forward, come to Uttanasana. I'm able to touch the floor with my fingertips. So if you're very tight, you could again take your sleeping bag or your backpack and just use the backpack to be able to rest onto so that you can keep the spine nice and long, especially that extension in the front body, and also so that you can keep the legs nice and active. So Ardha Uttanasana, this forward bend, you're looking at the halfway so that the legs are strong, that you're extending the spine, opening the front body. So from Uttanasana, we just come to Tadasana. Because I just had the shoulder up and I'd gotten over 2 frozen shoulders, it was important that I keep that mobility in the shoulders. And I mean, just because you're carrying a backpack all day long, it is important to just release the shoulders. So first up, Urdhva Hastasana, have the hands facing each other, just opening the armpits. And you want to try and not let the abdomen and the thighs come forward. So you're still standing in Tadasana. And then see, can you open the armpits, lock the elbows, and move the upper arms back, lift the chest, lift the gaze, lift the chin. Keep the abdomen drawing up to the spine and just feel the shoulder blades in at the back, opening the armpits, and then releasing, interlacing the fingers behind, stretching the hands down, bringing the shoulder blades into the body, but controlling the thighs and the abdomen back, and rolling that front shoulder back, keeping the breastbone lifted. So just to counter that pushing out of the dorsal, bring the dorsal spine in, the thoracic spine, and then change the cross of the fingers so that you've got the other index finger in front, and again, extend into the hands, extend the spine, lift the chest, and from here, releasing the hands, interlacing the fingers, Badangulyasana, so the same, stretch into the open palm, extending the arms over your head. So the back of the hand faces your head, you're opening the palms up to the ceiling, opening that zigzag, opening the armpits, breathing. Begin to move the upper arms behind the ears. Exhale, release. Again, change the cross of the fingers so that the opposite fingers on top, palms are facing out. You extend up. And when you move the arms back to open the armpits, you know, be careful that you're not just dropping the head forward so that the arms go behind the ears. Keep the head up, open the armpits, and move the arms back. Control the front thighs back, keep the abdomen lifted, and breathe. And then release. So that would pretty much be the practice I would do every morning in the tent, just to, or Tadasanas, I would go outside sometimes. And those arm stretches were useful to do throughout the practice, or throughout the trail rather. Gormukhasana was also my saving grace. So I would do Gormukhasana daily. I'm only just starting to touch fingers at the back. So I didn't want to lose this mobility because of the shoulders. So constantly just windscreen wipering the arms, even throughout the day. Doing some chest openers. Those chest openers, I would definitely include them throughout the day also. I was very grateful to Virabhadrasana 1 and Utkatasana. So we may as well do those now. Although I wasn't doing them during the trail. Utkatasana, coming from Tadasana, stretching the arms over your head, again, getting that openness in the armpits, controlling that abdomen back, and on an exhalation, lifting the shins, descending the buttocks towards the floor. Breathing here. And you want to see, can you keep that chest lifted and stretching up towards the thumbs? Can you keep the abdomen back to the spine? The flesh of the buttocks descends down as you lift the shins up. And if you keep your gaze lifted, you can keep the chest coming up. Breathe. Then pressing into the feet, extend up, releasing the hands. So Utkatasana gets the heart pumping. It's a good breathing technique to be able to breathe evenly through Utkatasana. And you find Utkatasana also strengthens the quadriceps and the glutes, which you need a lot of on a trail where there's a lot of ascension. Virabhadrasana 1, various ways of going into it. We'll move into it from the classic pose. So once you've jumped the feet apart, turn the palms to face up to the ceiling, hands come to Urdhva Hastasana. Then you're turning the feet. When you turn the feet to face the right, you want to move from this left hip across to the right. You want to keep that left hip facing forward, that right hip moving back. And from here, keep that back leg strong, bend the front knee. As you bend the front knee, you want to lift from the pubic bone to the navel to the breastbone. Extend the back leg, bend deeply. If you need to widen your legs, make sure that the knee joint is over the ankle joint. Each exhalation, turn from the left to the right. Inhale and look up. If you're able to, take the palms together. Don't lift the buttock when you look up, so descend into that right buttock bone. On an inhalation, lift up, turn the feet, and release the arms. When you've had a rest, we're going to go to the other side. So with the arms extended, turn the palms to face up, take the arms up and over your head. On an exhalation, turn the feet and turn the hips to face the left. So this right hip must come around. So left hip needs to move back. You're keeping that right leg strong. Lift that right inner thigh back, left hip back. Keep that lift from your pubic bone to your navel to your breastbone, and on an exhalation, bend the left knee. As you bend the left knee, can you be with the knee joint over the ankle joint? And just feel that the weight is on the heel, you're not gripping the toes. The back leg, extend into that back foot, descend into the buttock bone of the left leg. Now look up without unbending the knee. If you're able to, bring the palms together. Take a breath or two here, being conscious of the bent leg, the straight leg, and then straighten up, turn the feet, release, and step or jump back to Tadasana. So those two poses, I believe, really improved my stamina, my strength, and yeah, my ability to cope well on the otter trail. Right. Throughout the trail, if we kind of sat down for a break or for tea, we'd whip off the backpacks, sit on a nice big rock or a tree stump, and then using that rock for grip, just coming to a seated twist. So the twists I found really useful throughout the trail. Back to center, and then again on the exhalation, another twist to the other side. You want to keep the spine tall in a twist. Try to keep the alignment of the crown of the head over the perineum. And releasing back to center. So the twists, they stretch the side muscles, they mobilize the spine. So I used to do them quite regularly whenever I found a spot. And if I didn't have a nice rock to sit on, we just find a nice quiet space, and in Swastikasana, again, do some twists. Do some twists. We would or do some chest openers. I would do Gomukhasana just to get my shoulders nice and loose before putting my backpack back on. When we get back to camp, by then you're pretty tired, you've had a long hot day, you definitely don't feel like a practice. So I would find a quiet place, usually on the mattress, just to come to Supta Baddha Konasana. In Supta Baddha Konasana, I would just relax quietly. I would take a few moments just to reflect on the day, to just feel gratitude for just the privilege of having been in that special space. Gratitude that I felt for my body, for being able to just allow me to experience that experience. This also would open up the pelvic region, open up the groins. So just to counter that action of just the legs moving in one plane the whole day long. Yeah, just releasing the groins, relaxing into the hips. And if you have a hip issue and this is challenging for you, you can also sort of take your clothes and your sleeping bag and support the outer thighs so that the hips aren't really struggling. Then again, I would take my trusty scarf to stretch out my legs, just to release a little bit. But these I wouldn't hold for very long. The sideways stretch, holding a little bit more just to get that groin open. So you have to gauge how tired your legs are. So I'd find that apart from a few stretches, after that full day of hiking, I was just doing them more to release and just to check in with my body. And then from those, back to Adho Mukha Svanasana and Virasana. So from Adho Mukha Virasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, and if on the really hot days, I wouldn't hold Adho Mukha Svanasana for very long, but use it to come into Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. So here you bend the one knee, take it in between the two thumbs. Once more, you're squaring off the hips like you do in Virabhadrasana 1, and you're stretching the hip flexors. So because you've climbed a lot, the hip flexors, the quadriceps have worked. So this kind of stretch is very beneficial, or I found it beneficial. And if I got tired, just coming into the forward fold, I would stretch the glutes of the folded leg, again, getting that hip to release. And then when I was ready to stretch into that quadricep. If I needed a deeper stretch, if I felt like I could stretch a little bit deeper, sometimes bringing the foot in just helped to release that hip flexor a little bit more. Then Adho Mukha Svanasana, other foot in. So you're sitting back. If you're unable to sit flat, put your cushion or your sleeping bag, stretching that back leg. stretching the glutes of the front leg. Exhaling and just releasing down, using the weight of the body to get a deeper stretch in the glute of the bent leg. Nice, strong mobility work in the hip. And then fingertips to the knee, lift up, stretching that back leg. And to get a bit more stretch in those hip flexors, you bend up the knee and just gently coax that foot towards you, trying to keep the hips as level as you can. So those Eka Padaraja Kapotasana stretches were really, really lovely. And I would finish off just with, again, those seated and lying down twists, where you're taking the leg across into Marichasana, lying down, getting that lovely twist, back to center, and swapping legs. On the days that I had a little bit more energy or that I felt like I really needed to stretch my back a little bit more, I would also include Jatara Parivartanasana. So with the knees bent, dropping both knees over to the side. So the half one with the bent knees, because I'm looking for that stretch of the back and not to work the abdomen so much. And these I found were really rather releasing, and I often got some really nice click, click, clicks in my back. Once I had done those, I would just quietly lie in Shavasana for a few moments, not too long, so I didn't fall asleep. And then I would often just do some pranayama and Shavasana to go into once I was ready to go to bed. That's the yoga practice that got me through the Otter Trail. And yeah, if you're wanting to try it, it is a wonderful experience. Go for it. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.